It's your boy ConcertViz34, and today I'm giving a review of a very amazing experience last night. Dave Matthews Band SPAC Night 2, July 14th, 2018. What a show and what an experience. I had posted a couple different variations of social media. Shout out to DMB family, where I did post this morning, and then on my Twitter, pretty much just overwhelmed with the experience of a night two at SPAC. Quick history: live in Connecticut. Hartford's the venue I've been to the most. I go to Mansfield pretty much since 2014, every show, and then 2013 I had one of the two shows. So that's usually my home base, and I've been trying to go to SPAC for years, but I keep getting rejected by the warehouse. Last year, finally get accepted, but it's Dave and Tim, which is in some ways amazing. In other ways, like, oh man, I wish the full band was there. Go night one, balcony. And I think I was in the same section. I was in 15 last night, dead center. I think I was higher up, either in 15 or the section right next to it. 17. I have to check my ticket stuff. But I get there last year, and I'm just like, wow, this is an amazing place. The sound is awesome. Unlike the rest of the Dave and Tim tour, I can hear the band over people talking. There are a lot of complaints for other venues. This year, I request SPAC Night 2, and unlike the other years where I've requested it, I got it. So nice. I got a face value ticket, or two tickets because I brought my friend with me. But it was just, okay, let's do this. I'm excited. And it's really, what I can say is it's the Fenway Park of major concert venues. You have your Red Rocks, but they're more niche for mid-level jam bands that have this cult following, but they're not superstars, all right? The DMB can't do it anymore. Other big acts can't do it anymore because of the stage and because of getting the equipment in. It just can't handle it. So let's take Red Rocks out of it. There's some other cool venues, but and you got Guilford, New Hampshire, which still they get some big acts. But I'm just gonna take them out. SPAC is the Fenway Park. What I mean is, just like when I go to Fenway as a Yankees fan every year, don't get it twisted. I go every year with my Yankees gear on. When you get to the venue, you're surprised that there's actually an amphitheater there. That's exactly when I walk to Fenway and you see the buildings. All of a sudden, you see some lights when you get a little closer. It just blends in. SPAC is the same way. There's beautiful grass everywhere, trimmed everywhere, in the park, in the golf course, all along this route, in the mile or 2 mile leading up. It's just beautiful, nature at its best. So you get there and you're on top in the upper deck. You're on top of the stage almost. You feel like you're just hanging over or sitting over. Your legs are hanging free, pun intended, to line our graves. And you're like, wow, I can see everything here. Even in the last rows, you feel higher up. You're further back, but you can see the stage. The lower level is limited. There's not a lot of seats down there, and the pit is very small, just like when I go to Fenway. Very intimate, very close. And the energy there is amazing. And we'll talk about some two-step debates in a little bit, but the energy there is unlike any other thing. I'm not a fan of Shake Me Like a Monkey. Gonna keep it 100. When they played it, the energy was still there. You have other parts of the show where I was just like, the crowd was so loud, and it was awesome. It was amazing to experience that, and that's half of what SPAC is. But it is the Fenway Park. You can't get this in a Deer Creek. You can't get this in an Alpine. You can't get this at the Gorge. And I've never been at those venues, but I've been to venues across the country that are amphitheaters. I know they have their magic as well, but I know that the seats are not like SPAC, okay? So, and people that have gone to all these venues are saying there's nothing like SPAC. So, again, I haven't been to every venue, but there's not amphitheaters set up like SPAC is, not as intimate as SPAC, okay? And that's what makes it great. And just like when I went to the Dave and Tim show last year, this year, when special moments happen at this venue, people just, they're excited, don't get me wrong, but they're just used to this, okay? You look at number 40, Okay, the last full number 40 was at SPAC in 2015. Fairly well is going on at the same time out there in was it Chicago? So this is like they're doing it as a double encore. That's the last number, full number 40. Then before that, the second last number 40 fully done. You know, they had a bunch of teasers. It's at SPAC again, 2008. And then before going even back, you go back to the third latest number 40 that's full. It's at Giant Stadium in '01. What a year. Oh, 2000, 2001. Man, I wish I was not as much into playing travel hockey. I would have been to some DMB shows back then if my parents let me at age 11, which I doubt it. But anyway, '01 at Giant Stadium, which is Jersey, a drive from SPAC, but it's a state over. So they're used to number 40s. They're used to say goodbyes. They're used to just amazing, cry freedoms. They get a bunch of stuff that it happens there. And it's just surreal when it happens. And I was overwhelmed last night. I was overwhelmed. And I wish I could, I mean, don't get me wrong, I had a great time. I wish I could go back in time. And I'm not one of those people. Look, I feel like life is made to be the way it is. But this is an exception to my philosophy. I just wish I could go back in time because I was just overwhelmed with the moments of this show. JTR and then Big Eye Fish to Lover Lay Down. I got so scared at Lover Lay Down, I went to the bathroom because I was like, I don't know what's going to happen later on. And I just was like, look, Lover Lay Down, I heard the verses, and during the jam, I rushed to the bathroom and I rushed back to my seat. And I shouted, I saw Rob, the vocal coach, and I shouted him out, yo, thank you for what you do. Go back to my seat. I was like, what is going to happen next? And it's just, I can't explain it. It's just you get there, and I've heard JTR in Hartford another time, but it's just like these things come out, and it's almost like you're dreaming. And I know that's cheesy and cliche, but when the chords of JTR start strong, I'm like, am I listening to a recording at home or something? Like, this isn't really and then obviously you hear it live and you hear the crowd and you hear the improvisation on the song. And you're like, okay, this is real. So JTR, amazing. And that song alone changed the night to me. That song alone, that liberation, back in 2013, that's when I saw it in Hartford, but later in July was the last play. So that's going to be July 3rd, 2013 is the last JTR. I mean, that was the moment for me. I was like, all right, this is going to be awesome. And to get a Big Eye Fish and then to get a bartender later on, but they're in different order, I like that. I really like that. How, again, you know me, this band is they've been married for a long time. You got to mix it up. You have both of them. It's almost like having a Nancy in the Warehouse in the same show, but they're in different order. And then again, to have a Lover Lay Down, to have a Sledgehammer. What I liked about Sledgehammer this year, and I said it in a previous video, when you have Buddy playing the little whistle, pan flute effect, whatever it is. I'm not a keys player, so I don't know what number you press on the keyboard or the preset. But I love that. He did it with Raven. He played a little diddle with Raven, and he does it night two with Sledgehammer. You have that, and I love Peter Gabriel, okay? And I'm not just, I'm a Dave fan that knows the Sledgehammer cover. No, I love Peter Gabriel. My boy put me on to Peter Gabriel back in college, 2012-ish. And I just fell in love with Live in Athens, and that was a wrap after that. Anyway, so to get a Sledgehammer, and again, I'm just singing away, and I don't usually dance and sing, but I was doing all of it last night. And to get a Sledgehammer, and then to get some other stuff after that, it was awesome. Now, I will say, after Sledgehammer, oh no, well, you get a bartender, but Sledgehammer and bartender were the last two, like, oh my God, we're getting these things. Like, now you have two-step, we'll talk about that in a second, but those were the last two, like, regular set, like, yo, it's about to go down. Like, this is not your typical show, even though Sledge has been played 5 times this tour. It's like, okay, this is awesome. But what makes, again, this environment so great is how the crowd reacts to stuff, how they react to Crash Into Me. I love Crash Into Me once a tour, and this was my once a tour. More than that, I've told people, I'm like, I got it back to back in 2016. I was just like, yeah, all right. It's a beautiful song, but it's just the inner set list critiquer in me just is like, yo, we need it once. Shaking Like a Monkey, never usually really a fan of that. Um, Outside of the first couple times I've heard it live, but it was like the crowd went nuts, and it makes me feel excited. When the crowd's excited and the band is excited, it's different than when they played the Shake Me Like a Monkey in Mansfield back in 2016. Oh, a Shake Me Like a Monkey tour debut. I'm so blessed. Like I was very sarcastic when they played it back then, in 2016. And then Samurai Cop, not a huge fan of it being played back to back nights, but at the same time, it's a beautiful song, and again, the energy that trumps the inner setlist critiquer that I am. 41, I love 41. It's a staple in the band. Even though they don't play it every night, I could listen to it every night though. So I went crazy for that too. Um, Now, another thing I want to bring up is Come Tomorrow. I've got every song now from Come Tomorrow because they did here on out. So I've heard all the songs live from Hartford, Mansfield, and SPAC, except When I'm Weary and the BKDB, whatever that thing is. So right now, what I'll say is some of these songs have staying power. Again and again, even though it was played in 2016 as Bob Law, and even in 2017 with some of the various things, to me, I think that can stay. I also think that we're seeing songs like Samurai Cop. It's one of Dave's favorites. It can stay, but I think it needs to be reduced. It needs to be more of a rarity. And then you have songs like Do You Remember, where I want to hear that more. I love the little breakdown in that. Now songs like She was pretty solid compared to when I heard it in Hartford. They've been improving on that, but I think we could. It doesn't need to be played. That's just me being honest. It doesn't need to be played as much. And there's a couple other songs from night one that the same thing. You could go down the list. I think we can kind of hopefully the band after this album tour, even though they kind of still the next year after they'll still play a lot of it, reduce it down. There were 6 songs, but it was still again a great song. Come on is another song that can stay. That is the best song to me off the album. But hopefully they start cutting down on these after this tour when I head back next year in 2019. So I mean, we kind of see. I think the band will also see after this tour what will stay, what won't from the new album. Let's talk about Two Step. Let's talk about Bartender, and let's talk about the 2 types of things that you can want as surprises from this band, which I learned from last night. And there's really 2 types of surprises. There's bringing back the 2 steps and the bartenders, which are amazing. I mean, Bartender was awesome, and so was Two Step. But you get those back, and then okay, you've already heard them a bunch of times. Depending on where you live in the country, you probably heard it a lot. Bartender, it's 11 of 11, and then Two Step. I can't see it on my screen, but it's been played a lot at, man. I think it's been like around 18. No, not 18. Is it 18 times? It's been played a lot at SPAC as well. So you have those types of wishes, and then you have the other category, which is the JTRs, which is, to me, I still put Halloween in this category because Halloween is a treat to have, and some people have gotten them a lot. Like one of the venues in Ohio, I think, has gotten a bunch of Halloweens, but many haven't. So you have the JTRs, you have the Halloweens, you have a Spoon, you have and even a Say Goodbye is kind of in that category as well. Some of them are liberations, some of them are played, but they're only played a couple of times. You can even throw a Pig in there, even though it was played last night. If Pig is played at a certain venue, that's a rarity for a certain venue. So that's really what you have to choose for your hopes from. And maybe you get both like we did in SPAC. We got the Two Step and Bartender and a JTR. And maybe sometimes there's 2 liberations and 1 staple that returns like a Two Step. But to me, those are the 2 things that you really have to look for in this age of the band. Now, I prefer the liberation side of things. I prefer a JTR. I prefer Say Goodbye, a Halloween to end the night. Like I had said, for my expectations for last night, I would have loved a Halloween, even over a two. As amazing as Two Step was, I would have rather had a Halloween. I would have even rather had like a standard Billy's or something that's always played at the end. A watch, even the Watchtower, it's spotty. I've heard it a lot. I'd rather have that and then have a spoon mid set, um, to me. But that said, the bartender and the two step were amazing. And the two step, I mean, you go off the walls with how it felt live. It felt amazing. And even the Jimmy thing, and let me just backtrack real quick. What I want to say about Jimmy thing is it's a song I go to the bathroom to, I dance to the bathroom to. But last night, Jeff Coffin, good Lord, with the double sax. Everyone else with their jams. The guitar keys little combo, I believe that was in Jimmy thing, where they're dueling back and forth. It was an amazing Jimmy thing, even for someone like me who just is like, bruh, they play this way too much. It could be 7 minutes. Just make it a best 7 minutes. Like, I need the Dave Chappelle wrap it up button. But I mean, this was an amazing Jimmy thing. I forgot about that. Sorry guys. But Jimmy thing, man, I take Jeff Coffin for granted, and I realize that when he plays DMB, because all he is so good at filling in what he can of Leroy, and then also adding his personal elements because he can't do everything Leroy does. He knows that it's not a skill thing; it's a spirit thing, and he knows that. I take him for granted, and last night reminded me of that. Listening to him, someone had a recording from, I believe that was was it Montreal? I'm getting my, because they're going to Quebec. Yeah, Quebec has plains, the plains of Abraham. Yeah, so Montreal, he played like the night before, and when I hear him on Snarky Puppy, when I hear him sitting with other stuff, he is amazing, and I take him for granted. And Jeff, I just gotta say, man, you kill it every night. But I think we take it for granted how great you are at emulating Leroy and then adding your personal touch of your own style to the band. But last night, them double saxes, bruh. I played woodwind clarinet or regular clarinet from fourth grade to high school, and I was in the honors band, so I was really really good in high school, and then just kind of stopped. I know one woodwind alone is hard. Two of them, forget about it. Anyway, let's go back to two step. So two step was amazing. Um, Now people are like, is it better than Deer Creek? I think you can give the edge to Deer Creek, and I was at SPAC because it was a debut, and I just the end of it may have been slightly better. I don't know. And also the band knew that they had some time off, where they know two step last night. They knew they got to play tonight. That's a quick turnaround. You got to go through customs, get through the border. So I think it was better in Deer Creek, but the energy of I was not at Deer Creek, so I don't know. I can't compare and contrast how it was. But at the same time, the energy at SPAC, the top, I felt this at Madison Square Garden, Billy Joel, both shows I went to. No, actually, only the second one, because the first time I was on the floor. When you're in the actual 100 level of Madison Square Garden, it shakes during concerts. 21 Pilots, same thing from MSG. The balcony was shaking during two step. There is nothing. I mean, there's no balcony at most other venues. That's like the Man has one in Philly, but they don't play. The full band doesn't play there. There's not balconies at many of these other venues. Some of them I think may have them. I'm just missing one. But the balcony was shaking. It just the energy in the moment. You don't have time to say, which one is better. You're just like, I was just so overwhelmed by the moment. And the other thing I want to get into is this whole. Some people are mad that there was a two-step chant. Don't tell the band what to play and da 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 da. I separate. I have a line. On one side of the line, which is acceptable, is chants. So chanting for a song, two-step. Chanting for kind of a segue or something you usually say, like, thank you for letting me be myself again, or chanting, singing the Elvis Presley, can't help falling in my love, can't can't even speak right now. But the Elvis Presley interpolation into the stone, um, and like I get those. Those are okay to me. You can chant something. The whole crowd is loud and excited. The band doesn't play it. They don't play it. But when you have people in the front, I'm talking the pit, the lowers, and they're like, two-step, free bird, do a Nickelback cover, like, and then that guy gets beat up and stomped out. Just kidding. I don't promote violence. But when you have those type of individual fans trying to be like, look, I'm your manager, I'm your master, you better play me this song, boy. Uh, I don't like that. And I'm someone who used to think like, man, I want to hear this song. I wouldn't yell it out, but I'd be like, I want to hear this. But to me, that's different. That's just disrespectful. And then when I was in Hartford, someone did kind of say two-step, and then I guess Rashawn said no effing way. Someone who, like, people who were close, a couple of people said it on forums. I was too far back to see any, like, I was just dead center but high up in the upper. So I don't know. But anyway, I think it's a fine line between chanting as a crowd, singing something that may allude to a song, and then actually one person or five different people in the pit saying, play people, man, people. Come on, man. Like, they're not gonna play that. Exodus, like, no, they're not gonna cover that. So that's where I split it up. But overall, a great show. I think that the show today in Quebec City, I think it impacted a double encore. It impacted how hard the band could have gone at the end. Now, again, by that I just mean that next gear. This band, I mean, Carter bro is 60 years old. I've seen Neil Peart, been blessed to see him at this age range too in Rush 2014. Other than Neil Peart, I don't know any drummer this old that can just go this hand. Carter gave it his all. Everyone gave it their all. Dave gave it his all, and everyone else. But I think that if this was just like Deer Creek, where you have time off, just like Hartford, with which I went to, even though there was a shorter encore, and Hartford's not SPAC, when the band knows they have a full week off or 2 or 3 days off, they're going to leave a little extra. So you're going to get a two-step fake into Halloween or a partial two-step into Halloween. Maybe you get a full number 40 because, hey, screw it. We're not going to be playing for a couple of days. Who knows? Maybe you get a stone in the encore. Who knows? But I think that you can definitely say that this band playing today may have impacted just a little bit of energy, but overall, great venue, beautiful town, and the fans, just like going back to the Fenway analogy, they're knowledgeable. The local fans and the fans that are traveling are knowledgeable about the game, or about the music, and that's why I think SPAC is the Fenway of DMB shows. The hardest ticket to get, in my opinion. The prices, the lack of, there's only 5,000 seats. Like I said in other videos, other venues have 6,000, 7,000 seats, 8,000 physical seats that you can sit in anywhere in the venue. So those couple thousand seats do make a difference. Because when you look at ticketing, when you look at supply and demand, it's going to be a huge difference. And then when you look at the Gorge, it's like a Dodger Stadium. The Gorge is a Dodger Stadium. It's huge, it's beautiful, it has history, it's wonderful, and there's nothing like it, but it's not as intimate as SPAC. You meet a lot of people there, I'm sure, but it's a big hill, and then it's flat seating. Okay, it's not lower level orchestra, upper level balcony, all on top of the venue. So thank you to the band. Thank you to all the fans that came out. What an easy way to leave. I had the $10 parking. They could charge 40, 50 bucks if they wanted to. I paid $10 for parking, and I left Route 50 going south. I mean, I was pretty much out of there, right? I just pulled up, and again, I was in a full free lot that was filled to capacity. They do a great job with the traffic. There's tons of ways to get out, unlike Mansfield. And it's if I can get the lottery, If I can find a reasonable price, a reasonable price, like, comment, subscribe. Otherwise, I'm out.